We are often asked by clients and prospective clients what the difference is between a search firm that is a specialist search firm and a generalist search firm. So a specialist search firm has a practice that's maybe a little more narrow. It might just do work in oil and gas, so it might be an industry sector. Maybe they just do work in the pharmaceutical sector, or it could be a functional specialty. So they do nothing but finance executives. And a fairly large percentage of search firms are specialty search firms. A generalist search firm, on the other hand, just has a much broader portfolio, tends to work with lots of different industries, tends to work with lots of different functional areas. It is very common to find a specialty practice sometimes embedded into a generalist firm. But we are frequently asked by clients, what are the advantages of using a specialty firm versus a generalist firm? So the truth is it's a mixed bag. So the advantages on the specialty firm are pretty clear. First of all, because they are in one sector or one functional area, they tend to know the market very well. They tend to have a ready pool of candidates, and they probably are going to be able to complete the search more quickly than a generalist firm that may have to spend more time researching and learning. The second reason to use a specialist firm is if you're doing a search for a position that's fairly narrow and maybe idiosyncratic. So maybe it's a aspect of marketing that is a subset of digital marketing that's all around e-retailing or internet, selling over the internet. It could be any number of things. Sometimes these are scientific, medical, research and development kinds of roles where you have people that are MD, PhDs who specialize in pediatric oncology, but only in ophthalmology. I mean, these things can become incredibly narrow. So if you have a position that you're seeking to fill that is really idiosyncratic, sometimes a specialty firm can help. Using a specialty firm has some liabilities as well. So one liability, and these are not necessarily obvious to you as a corporation assessing the firm's capability. The first one has to do with a concept called off-limits. So retained search firms have agreements with their clients that they will not recruit people out of their companies, usually for a period of 2 years after they've completed a search. If you are a specialist company and you do all of your work, for instance, in consumer goods, you are going to have all kinds of clients in the consumer goods space, like Procter & Gamble and Campbell Soup, and all of these, Unilever, all these organizations. So when you're starting a search, you may be prohibited from going into many of the companies that, frankly, your client expects you're going to be going into. So one of the things you can do in this situation as a client is just to ask the firm directly to give you a list of the companies that they're prohibited from going into. That'll at least tell you what you've got at the front end. The second issue that can sometimes be a problem, this one's very hard to assess, frankly. We have a concept we sometimes speak about a little jokingly of the usual suspects problem. If you're a specialty firm and you've got a long history, there's a lot of people out there on your radar who know what you do, and there is sometimes a risk that you're going to get candidates that are maybe getting a little recycled. Maybe they're the people that fell off another search and they're on this search, and then they may be off another search. So you just have to be very careful to evaluate the candidates, and that's not even something that search firms do intentionally. It's just something that can happen. It's a risk. With a generalist firm, the good news of working with a generalist firm, you can certainly see plenty of people in the right sector with the right background. They are also going to have better access to people maybe from adjacent sectors. So for instance, we're working with a client right now that's in wholesale distribution, but they are really looking for candidates out of the retail world, because retail is a little bit ahead of wholesale distribution in some of the things they want to accomplish. If you only had a specialty firm looking in one sector, it would be harder to do that. It may take the generalist firm a little more time to develop the candidate slate, but you're likely to have a little bit of a more diverse slate, and they're not going to be prohibited from going into many of the companies you'd expect them to go into.